said. And I think he changed the way that investors view the market. And he's the original GOAT when it comes to the market. And that's why, he will never be replaced. It's an end of an era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I thought it was so interesting, too, because at the same time we got that information, for all the reasons you just explained, hearing what he had to say on the tariffs is very meaningful, and people really do listen. I want to play a little bit more of what he was saying on the use of tariffs.
There's no question that trade can be an act of war. And I think it's led to bad things. Just the attitudes it's brought out in the United States. I mean, we should be looking to trade with the rest of the world, and we should do what we do best, and they should do what they do best.
Dan, what kind of weight do his comments hold? Again, this is kind of the most direct we've heard from him since all of this has been going on.
Yeah, and 40,000 people packed watching him. And look, you're talking about someone that presidents, leaders of countries around the world for decades within government have always looked to what Buffett says. So when he talks, everyone listens. That was a shot across the bow. I mean, that's about as negative as you're going to see Buffett in terms of what he's seeing in terms of the tariff trade war. And I think those words you're going to hear throughout the week, because everyone was waiting to hear what Buffett said about the trade war. And even though obviously he retired at the end of the year, I mean, those are words that will be heard around the world and around the market.
I did think it was worth noting that he didn't name Trump or President Trump. He was not overtly political about this. He was trying to be, I think in listening to this, pretty just clinical about how he thought this could be impactful to the economy and to the broader global economy. How thoughtful is he about that, or conscious is he that the impact that his words carry, and not to get too much into politics?
Yeah, Jessica, I think that's also why he's outperformed the S&P by miles since 1965. He's returned 20% annual growth since 1965 because he doesn't get caught up in politics, in emotions. And he also knows, like, his words carry, I'd say, some of the most weight around the world. The reason he doesn't say Trump by name, he's viewing it very mathematically and just very logically in terms of trade and tariffs. And what he's saying will be felt in D.C. because Buffett, you can't just shoo those words away. When he talks, that's something we're going to hear. We're going to see that clip for weeks and months every time as we're going through this trade tariff war.
And is that what you mean when you said it's a shot across the bow? Like, that's what you're talking about, that he knows what he's doing and he's being as pointed and direct as possible?
Oh, I mean, he plays 4D chess. Others play checkers at the kids' table. That's why Buffett is the GOAT, right? And so when he does it, that's not just, off the fly. I mean, that's his view. He's a globalist. And if you look at from Apple, to Coke and so many of the other names that he's owned, over the decades, he's a believer that markets are efficient, but you can't do inefficient things. And that's why, him being very anti-tariff, anti-trade war speaks to, I think, the broader view on Wall Street. It's really viewed as all bad and really nothing good relative to you talk about near term, 4 to 5 years, right? And then that's kind of what Buffett did with that shot across the bow.
All right, Dan Ives, as always, thank you so much for being here and giving us some context around this. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
And while we're hearing those comments from Warren Buffett,